Welcome to Wake Up Podcast with Viv Trader. Viv is a curious person with the desire to embrace different opinions and expertise. Her focus is health, well-being, environmental, and political. She holds a non-judgmental approach and she is objective. Viv's ambition is to raise your awareness and contribute to a better world. She is also the founder of Vivalicious Food, which produces an innovative vegan baby food with added omega-3 from an algae oil. www.vivaliciousfood.com.
Right, so today I have the real honor and pleasure of meeting with Hans Wilhelm. Thank you so much, Hans, for coming. I am so excited to have you here today.
It's a delight and an honor and a pleasure to be with you and meet you.
Yeah. Now, Hans, as I ask all my guests, can you please tell me, who are you?
Big question. I would define myself as a spirit being who has come here to planet Earth for the Earth School to undo my past lives and this lifetime karma and to become purified and clear again in this very short time that the lifespan is of only, 800,000 hours. So I'm trying to make the most of it. But I think I'm not alone. I think that is the reason why most of us are here, although they are not aware of it.
Wow. And how come you embarked on this journey with the spirituality? Did you have that sense as a kid that you were very curious about spirits and, what did that look like?
Very much so. When I grew up, I couldn't believe what the churches were teaching. They never had the answer where we really came from, why we are here and where we are going. They were waffling about it. Their evidence since the church took out the reincarnation, they could never really answer these questions. So I had to study on my own. Started very early with Edgar Cayce and many, many different paths, all the popular paths over the last, 60 years. I went very deeply into. For the last 40 years and so, I'm very closely connected to some teachings that come from Germany, from a woman, Gabriele, who is the emissary of light, who gives incredible revelations these days, which I use for my very short videos. What I like about it is that it is in today's language very clearly explained, and there are it answers virtually everything I need to know. And plus, it is not an organization. You don't have to join anything. You don't have to become a member. This material is offered to everybody who is interested for free, basically, unless you have to buy the book. But it is an amazing path, and I think it's a superior path to any other path I have studied over the years, and I did a lot.
And are you a medium?
Oh, no, I am not a medium. I have no spiritual skills. What I do have, and this is how it happened, I studied it for all these years, and I kept it to myself. But when my father died some 10 years ago, he was not believing in life after death. And we children were with him for the last few days as he passed over. And I told him, I said, look, Dad, I know you don't believe in life after death, but just in case, you might be wrong. These are the 10 points which probably you may encounter when you're on the other side, realizing that you're still alive. And when I told him the points, he smiled in a way. I said, all right, that's your belief. I don't believe in it. I move on. Anyway, I totally forgot about it. And then 5 years later, I went to a book signing of a medium I'd never met before. And as I came in, the medium came right up to me and says, look, I just have to speak to you. Your father came in the moment you entered the room and told me to come to you to thank you for what you have told him prior his death. It helped him so much on the other side. And then he said, he is now working on the receiving end for souls who return back into the spiritual world. And he sees the utter confusion of so many souls who have no idea that I even know that they are dead or what happens now. So he says, would I please write books about this and tell other people about what I know? Now, I'm by profession a writer and illustrator. I've written and illustrated over 200 books, which are published around the world, many of them also in Sweden, which is nice to know. But I never thought of revealing my personal spiritual stuff publicly. So I said, I'm not going to do books. I want to reach out to the young people. And at that and then I decided to do very short videos, 5 to 10 minutes long, on YouTube videos. In those videos, I draw very much like here, for instance, I draw how karma works. The person does some harm to someone else. It is stored in the soul, in the Akashic records, in the repository planets, and then eventually comes back to the person. And by drawing it out, it becomes very clear to me, and I think to everybody else who watches these videos. And that's the power of these videos, because it's very simple, very straightforward.
Mm.
I do these videos largely for myself, to understand them myself. So because when I read the text, I have to visually see it together, how it all fits together. And then I share this. If anybody get benefits from it, it's fine. If not, it's also fine. My videos are totally free. I do not ask for donations. It is just something which I share, and if anybody finds benefit in it, that's great. And with that attitude, it has now mushroomed in this enormous kind of thing of millions of viewers and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, which is quite surprising, but it just shows that people crave for clarity. There are so many spiritual paths out there, which are all partly good and all have something. You mentioned something earlier, the coin has many sides than just only truth. Truth comes in many different channels. And so people like to find the very simple, straightforward way, and then they can put it onto their own belief system with the way they wish to do it. But understanding how karma works, understanding why we are here, understanding the law of projection, the law of attraction, etc., is so helpful to anybody, particularly when they're suddenly hit with a crisis or a difficult situation in life. I go a lot from the emails I get. I know people are suddenly hit by some horrific stuff, suicide very often and things like this, and suddenly don't know how to deal with it. And there, these videos can give them some form of comfort, at least a way of how they can find a deeper comfort, which is always within ourselves, the source of all being. And so I'm guiding them basically back to themselves, to the God within.
And you were mentioning karma as well. And I think, like, you know, you were saying, we were talking about this as well, that in order to create peace in the world, we need to start with peace within us. Everything starts, you know, internally, and then it's a reflection in the outer world. So with karma and healing, can you explain a little bit karma from your viewpoint? What is karma for you?
Well, my understanding is that we were perfect spirit beings once, long time ago, and then some of these spirit beings decided they no longer wanted to be in the absolute reality, which is a 7-dimensional reality, and they left the reality. In the Bible, we call it the fall of angels. Most likely, most of us here on planet Earth, you and me included, were part of this gang of rebellious angels. And the reason why and how we removed ourselves, because the absolute reality works on pure love, unselfish love, selfless love. And we now, by removing ourselves, we acted against the law of love. We became selfish, self-centered, ego-centered. No longer everybody else, the totality, we are always concentrated on ourselves. And the more we acted against the law of love, the more we separated ourselves from our true essence, from the absolute reality. And over time, the shadowing of the soul, we call, or karma, became stronger and stronger, so that we eventually landed in the 3-dimensional reality, which we call Earth, planet here, with the material universe. This is where we are right now. And karma is basically nothing else than the consequences of all our thoughts, words, actions, sensing, feelings against the law of love. Every time we have acted not against the love, we have acted against ourselves. We are love. We have hurt ourselves. And so by thinking negatively, speaking negatively, hurting other people, etc., we didn't hurt any God up there, we hurted ourselves. And we created this karma with these causes, which will then eventually have an effect. They come back. I mean, we all know the law of sowing and reaping. What comes out, it comes back to us. It is all We know the law has many, many names, but it's always the same thing. What we send out always comes back to us, no exceptions. So if we send out negativity, it comes back to us. And from lifetime and lifetime, we sometimes have increased this karma more and more. But each lifetime here on planet Earth, we are giving the opportunity to undo our karma with forgiveness, making amends, understanding repentance, and learning slowly and clearly to love again, relearning to love again, because we are love, it's just only for us to relearn it. And service, love and service is one and the same. So this is the path which I believe most of us have signed up here to be here on planet Earth to learn that. Prior our birth, we were all shown our future life here on Earth in a life review, basically, before our birth, and we knew what we could expect here. What are the difficult situations of unloving things which are still in our life, in our being, and which now need to be cleared up? So we have chosen consciously certain difficult situations to undo that karma, to give back where we have hurt someone else, and basically to balance out our karma. And that's part of most of our reason why most of us here on planet Earth, to undo this karma so that we become free again. It's all a path of freedom. It's all basically just about freedom, becoming free again from the shackles which we created ourselves, which hold us back in this low vibration. And when you see this in my little short videos, it's very clear to understand how this all works with vibration. We are talking about nothing else in vibration. Our existence is nothing but energy. There is no real matter. Everything is vibration and frequency. You and I are nothing else but vibration and frequency. And that we have to lift up again to a higher vibration. So we are talking about physics here, to bring the lower energy up to a higher energy.
Mm-hmm. And, talking about karma, we're talking about karmic relationships that we have soul contracts with coming back into this life to clear karma. Are they here to just teach us to grow and evolve our soul, the karmic relationships we have? And that can be with your friends, family members, partners, etc.
The mutual goal for all of us to become free again. Yeah, and sometimes these partners or these business partners or neighbors or family members can be very harsh on us, very hard and very painful and suffering. But for the most part, we have agreed to that so that we learn compassion, understanding, so that we sometimes feel the pain we have given others, so that we won't do it again. So all these situations, as difficult as they are in our life, and they're coming from other sources, from other people in our life, are usually things which we knew in advance. Not everything. What we know in advance, as far as I understand, is a rough outline of our life. But we have continuously free will, where we continuously can change and modulate our little path and refuse to accept anything, and also embrace the wrong path. We can also deviate very strongly. But the basic layout, I call it like a riverbed, is given to us, where there are sometimes rapids and there's sometimes water runs slower and faster. And that is given to us, that we knew in advance, and we have agreed with. Everybody is here with full consent. Nobody is here against their own free will. Even if people think they are here because by mistake or whatever, no, nobody is here by mistake. That doesn't work.
So it's almost like you should be, once you understand this karmic, relationships, and when you're suffering and bad things happens to you, it's almost like you should be grateful for that, because it will help your soul to grow and evolve. And don't throw a stone back. Just be the better person, raise above, and heal yourself and free yourself. Right?
Perfect. Byron Katie has this wonderful line: nothing happens to us, everything happens for us. And when we really understand what that means, that everything happens for us, for our benefit, for our growth, even the most difficult illness, torture, whatever it is, it's unbelievable to believe that even war and so on is basically happened for our growth. Because some souls just don't want to learn otherwise than through pain. We either learn through insight or through pain. And some souls have to put themselves into a situation very, very painful, emotionally as physically, just to understand, to wake up from their slumber. So because a lot, for instance, a lot of souls who died in the Second World War and then incarnated again in after which became the flower children. They were really anti-war and anti all this kind of thing, what war stood for. They were the hippies, we call them, but in a way they resented everything what was related to the killing and murder and so on. So that is the opposite. But it is only possible, or very often only possible, through some painful experiences that we change our attitude to more loving, more kinder kind of a world.
And do you think we should teach this in school for children, karma? You know, everything that you teach is so common sense for me, this being super spiritual as well. But I think if we want to create a harmonious and peaceful world, doesn't it start with the children, the youngest generation we have?
I don't think here in America, where I live, we could get that into the public schools, because it is run by the conventional religious beliefs, which does not include karma. But of course, they also teach Jesus, you should sow, and what you sow, you reap. But I think the one lesson I think we all agree worldwide, it's not that you just given, or these laws are not given only to the Christian population. It's the golden rule. The golden rule is in all kind of societies, in all kind of religions, in different words, but what don't do unto others what you don't want them to do, and do unto others what you wish them to do. This very simple rule. If we would all live by this one simple rule, the world would be a paradise.
Or be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yeah, you have to start with yourself, of course. That's a key, of course. And now you have to be the first one to do it. You don't expect your neighbors to do it. Correct. Yeah.
And we talk about soul mates and soul partners. I mean, soul mates are one thing and a soul partner is another thing. Would you please tell me a little bit about that?
I have made a special video on soul partners and soul mates, yes, in this way. My understanding is very clearly, as I said, we are here at school. It's like a college. And we are challenged here. We have to face difficult situations. And we have to face and we have to grow on our own, to develop these things on our own. If we truly had our soul, we all have a soul mate. We all have in the spiritual world a mate, a partner, with you, whatever would call it. So
can I ask one question there? Sorry to interrupt you, but could a karmic partner also be a soul mate?
Let's put it that way. My understanding is that as a spirit being, you do have definitely an eternal partner, which is the opposite energy. It's either male and female, we call it in this, but there is, but there is an energy between the two. It's not the same kind of polarity. That is our true soulmate for eternity. But the soulmate really incarnates at the same time as we are, for the reasons I try to lay out, because we have to learn to be on our own. If you go to college, you don't take your pets with you, your grandmother and everybody's support group. You go totally alone into this totally new environment to explore and develop yourself. And it's very important. And that's why we incarnate on our own without our soulmate. And we are not here to find our soulmate either, but we do find our life partner here. That can be the wife, the husband, and it can be an intense love and closeness, but it is really the soulmate. The soulmate may incarnate together with us when we both decide to bring a different vibration, teaching, help into this world. When the purpose is not so much for clearing up our own karma, but the purpose is service. We incarnate to serve the people. Then it is good you have a partner with you, your soulmate with you, to help you on this task. But if you want to undo your karma and to learn to become strong again with divinity, then it is of no help to have your soul partner, your soulmate with you. So that's the reason. I know a lot of people in the New Age world, they look for their soul partners and they pray for their soul partner. But it might say, no, you will find a partner if that is supposed to have. And you can have the most intense and wonderful relationship, like you may have with your soul partner. There's nothing wrong with it. The soulmate is not envious about it. If we have now an intense love affair with some other human being here. No, that's part of they understand fully. This is how it goes in school. But if they're looking for our soul partner, I think it's a waste of time. Find a right person who is not perfect, accept them with their imperfection, and learn to grow together, because that's how you develop. If you are together with your soulmate, there is no growth. It's just why you're here. The reason why you're here is maybe you serve others. But our main reason is to grow. And for that, we need challenges. So the same way as we don't go in college with our support group, the same way we are not having our support group when we are coming here, because we are strong enough to handle it ourselves with the divinity within us.
And that comes with a lot of self-acceptance as well, to accept that life just is, and letting go of their judgment and just embrace the path of we are here to learn, where a part of that is suffering, pain. That's where the real growth takes place. And what's your viewpoint on the spiritual awakening that's taking place now around on the globe? Lots of people are waking up and are obviously suffering and going through letting go of the egos. What would you tell those people?
Well, I made a video about explaining the sudden overpopulation or the strong population on planet Earth, which explains that many souls in the spiritual realms know that the Earth is going through major changes, and reincarnation as it is in the past will no longer be possible, because low vibrational souls will not incarnate anymore in the Earth, which is on a higher vibration. So now, therefore, from the year 1900, when we had the world of 1.5 billion inhabitants, to now 8 billion in just a bit more than 100 years, it's just an incredible curve. These are souls who suddenly come here, who want to use this last few years here of change, which will be very intense, so they can clear up as much karma as possible. See, the reason why we incarnate here on planet Earth is because we have got here our physical body, which is a buffer for all the pain that we usually have created through our karma. And we also meet souls which we normally wouldn't meet in the spiritual realm, because the spiritual realm works on the law of like attracts like, which means we are surrounded by same vibrating souls. But we may have heard somebody in another kind of vibration who is existing in a different kind of part in the spiritual world, because he has a different vibration. But here on planet Earth, which is a uniqueness of planet Earth, souls from all different realms can come together and connect at the same time. That makes it, that's why it's called the planet Earth. It's a school, planet Earth. We can only incarnate here for a very short time, like a school, 800,000 hours, which is nothing. As an average, of course, some do it much graduate earlier. But therefore, the Earth is not our home. It's just a school. So we incarnate here together with souls from other different spiritual realms. So we can meet them, we can undo our karma together and can live. So the time at the moment is rapidly developing, and it becomes still more serious and more serious. The little fires we see everywhere, the storms, etc., it's only the beginning of something rather more drastic to come. The Earth will go through a major cleansing process. And that's why a lot of souls have incarnated, and a lot of souls are aware of it. And you mentioned there is already the new generation, a lot of young kids know stuff which I had no idea when I was born. And I think none of my classmates knew anything close to what they know already today, intuitively. So it's a different kind of vibration of souls that have already incarnated to usher in the new era of an Earth of a higher vibration. But it will be an intense period, and we better find a very clear link to divinity within, because there may be moments when we really feel we need major help, and the only real help comes from within.
And that is through meditation, prayer.
Prayer, meditation, going into stillness, to really find, to start a communication with with God within, Christ within, whatever you wish to, what we feel comfortable with. But I think that is a very important point, that you never, because we are never alone. We are surrounded by divinity all the time. We've got our guardian angel, we have got the whole spiritual realm who want to help us. But if we never learn to really communicate with them or connect with them, then in time of crisis, it will be not that easy. It will be possible. It can be an instant suddenly when we finally surrender and says, God, thy will be done, and no longer fight that the world should be the way how we want it, then suddenly that energy can flow through us and can give us the calmness, the comfort, and the securities.
And I meditate. I mean, I'm addicted to meditation. I usually start my day with meditation once the kids left school, and I speak to my spirit guide. I have one angel or spirit guide, and then I know she works with a team behind her, which is part of my mission. But once you practice, you can actually get the messages, and they always say to me, "Dear Vivica," always "Dear Vivica," and they always end up, "We love you so much. We love you so much." And that's a wonderful way of feeling the light, and it's just a white, pure light streaming from the top of my head through my body and down through the earth, and it's like a round bubble, and then it's just, you just disappear into space. It's just really, really wonderful. It's probably the best feeling in the world, just being in meditation.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you have that totally really connection there. Yeah, that is something which I'm pleased I'm here that you have developed it. Yeah, yes, it took me a while to get there to that point too. But what is important, I think, for me to understand that the messages which I do receive in one form or the other, not as clearly as you have it, seem to have it, are just meant for me and not for anybody else. I think that is very important. That's why I do not share my messages. They're really meant for me. I'm not a prophet, but I do realize that this is what I just came to realize. This is really meant for me and to make my work. Yeah,
your work, because I get a feeling you get quite creative messages that you can apply and utilize in your imagination with the amazing work you do, being a children's author and helping children and adults as well.
That's quite possible. Yeah, I haven't really questioned where these ideas come from. I accept them as they come from book to book, and lots of from memories, whatever it is, it's etc. Yes, I'm sure that there has been a lot of help because it was a very successful career. I must be very grateful. I am very grateful for all the help I have on the other side. But that was my own little connection and stories. And yeah, I always had that place to always go to whenever things were a bit stormy in the outside world. And I think that to develop, that's what you mentioned earlier, this the time now at the moment with this world, that is, I think, the key, to make that connection, to create it in one way or the other, through meditation, through prayers, whatever helps you to create that connection is the thing which in the end will pull us through. It won't be your bank account, it won't be the food you have saved, it won't be maybe not even your family members who could be somewhere else. It is really the only connection we have is within ourselves, the God within ourselves. And there's nothing stronger than that.
Do you think, I just need to clarify that with the reincarnation, that people in a very fear, low vibration, they won't have the opportunity to reincarnate in the future on Earth, because we are entering a higher dimension, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th dimension. And those people will have to sort of learn it will take too much time to learn, to have too many lives in order for the time and space to evolve. Do you understand what I'm saying?
We all evolve in our time. There is no I think there is no general rule. It's just that the soul which has such low vibration that it no longer can be attracted to planet Earth will find other ways to learn in the way and expiate their karma in the spiritual realm. We all expiate our karma in the spiritual realm, but it is more painful there because, as I said, we don't have the physical body. Here we can take pills, we can take...
we can have a release, escape.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's another wonderful example. Why it is so wonderful to come to planet Earth, because we have got the shield of our body. But up in the spiritual realms, we expiate it. We feel it instantly. We feel instantly whatever the suffering that we have imposed on others and on the nature, we feel it directly, and it can be very painful. But everything sent out comes back to us. That's why planet Earth is such a grace. It's a grace for us given from divinity, so that we can undo our karma very fast here as well, and much faster. It takes eons and eons in the spiritual realm, but here we can really speed it up. It's a rough trip, and we can also get lost here. That's a danger here when we incarnate. We can easily get tempted and lost. And I think the biggest temptation or the biggest problem we have in our life at the moment, I personally see, is the distraction. I see them as Netflix, the little iPhones and things like this. That
Addictions,
people
yeah.
attention, that the people are not willing to sit at oh, I feel uncomfortable, I feel angry. Why is it? Oh, let's watch a movie. That we miss these messages which life gives us continuously. And that kills, unfortunately, that defeats the whole purpose of us being here. We are, when we have got these emotional changes here, to look at them and see what is the reason for it, and not try to cover it by another distraction. And I'm as guilty as Chart and everybody else, so I'm not beyond this. There's a great show on, I want to see that too. But it is so tempting. That's how basically the devil, so to speak, gets us. It is really the amazement at the avalanche of distractions, which our grandparents never had. But we are suddenly on a just push button, we can have everything, computer games, movies, whatever you wish to do. That is something which I think is the biggest threat we have for our soul growth.
That's a massive problem, because it's, like you're saying, it's just the biggest problem in the world.
Yeah, it is. And we don't see it as a problem. We see it as a gift. We never thought about it, because most people are not aware why they are here. Most of us believe we are here to have a wonderful life, and this is a life. This is the only life we have, and let's make it as pleasurable, as nice as it is. There's nothing wrong with it. I understand it. I've lived that life. Fully understand. But that is not the purpose why we are here for those 30,000 days. That's all we are here for. At the school, it's like, from a spiritual perspective, it's like going to the movies for 2 hours and coming back. And when we are at the movie, you totally forget who you are. You're totally involved in the movie. But then when the movie's over, you come back. And that's exactly why we're here on planet Earth. That's why the Earth life is so very, very short. It's just coming in here, clean up some of your karma, go back. And if we would live much longer, chances are we burden ourselves even more so. That's why the short life is what it is at the moment. I made one video on what is the word, on getting older, unlimited and aging and whatever. But it's a myth to believe that it's good for us to. It's like, do you really want to stay in college for the rest of your life? No, there comes a point when you have to leave college or school and then move on and do the next adventure.
Yeah. And do you know anything about the next adventures up in the universe? What?
No, I think that's.
Have you got some inside info to give me?
That's individual. Everybody has its own lesson. That's this amazing thing. That's why everybody has a different school day here on planet Earth, because everybody at any given time during the day receives the karma that is downloading to him in small little compact energy units. Like, for instance, the phone call of somebody you get who is very harsh and angry with you, or you have got a fight with your spouse, or you have a car accident. These are no accidents as such. These are all things which come from our karmic, the causal computer, which are in the stars. The stars are storing our karma, coming down to us in small doses, day by day by day by day, so that we can undo them. So our day, in my video, The Amazing Earth School explains it very clearly, that our day is nothing else but made up of components, of energy components, which we once had stored in the repository planets, which are now coming back to us moment to moment to moment, so that we can undo our karma. So each challenging situation, every time you have an emotional charge to what somebody says or what you see, is an opportunity to clear something up. And that's why the whole day is full of lessons. But if we escape too much into video games and Netflix and anything else, we miss these lessons.
Yeah, and also what pops up in my head is, if you're a victim, if you have a victim mentality and you feel sorry for yourself.
That's
a lot of people, life is so unfair. Why did that happen to me? Why do I always have, bad luck? And so.
Yeah. Because we don't understand why we're here. And this is not our first life. We don't understand that the negativity that we have created is most likely we have created ourselves, previous lifetimes, or not always. We have consciously chosen to go through this difficult time to become more compassionate. So it's not always karma that comes back to us in a difficult situation. It can be our choice. That it's like a sports person who runs or makes it, he needs challenges to grow, to become stronger, better, faster. And we do the same thing in our life, that we put obstacles into our life so that we can grow and master them, so that the main goal is to become loving again. That's the only goal basically we have.
The goal is to open your heart and feel love so you can be love and radiate love throughout you and have ripple effects on everything around you.
Yeah, the goal is to love and nothing else. But it sounds rather cliche. It's sort of a bit strange and a bit new age, but it is basically the thing, because love is what we are. We are talking about becoming who we truly are ourselves. We don't have to adopt anything else. We are love. We are made out of love. Love is light ether. And the whole creation, spiritual creation, is made out of light ether. You and I are basically light ether. And this is our physical body is a condensed form of light ether. It's a low vibration of energy. And all we have to do is to become this pure light ether again, which is love. So when I say all we have to do is to love, all I have to do is to be myself.
Self-love and open your heart.
Can be dangerous. Self-love can be a selfish love, self-ego love. I know what you mean, your self-acceptance, self-respect. Because self-love can be also, oh, I do everything for myself. I can eat chocolate all day long, etc. That's a form of it's a negative form of self-love. There's a self-love.
Oh, interesting. Explain that a bit more. What is positive and negative self-love so people can hear and get the, they might think eating chocolate is a really good act of kindness to oneself.
No, I think we know. There's selfishness and self-love can be the same. When we become more important than everybody else, when we are the center of our thinking, of our acting, everything is for me. Everybody is here to serve me. Everybody is here so that I have a great life. That is a form of self-love gone the wrong way.
Ego.
Ego. It's ego. Yeah, ego is another word. But what I feel more comfortable with the word self-respect. By self-respect, I would do more pure, clearer, honest behavior, heart feel. Yeah, that is one of the things. So the word self-love has two sides, so many more sides to it, but it's not easily understood. It can go into the wrong direction. That's why I say self-respect, yes. And also self-forgiveness is very important too, yes. All these are important.
How do you open your heart? Do you need to do like a lot of healing, like karma?
How do I open my heart? I have to really go within myself to find the answer, because I don't know how open my heart is. How do I open my heart? I think, first of all, is to recognize who I am. When I recognize who I am, that I am a spirit being here struggling through this world for the reason which I've created myself, that is everything. And I suddenly realized that everybody else is the same like me. And as the poet once said, or philosopher said, be kind to everyone because everybody else is fighting a tougher battle. And that everybody else around me is doing the same tougher battle and having a tough time. I think that's the compassion comes in. And then the understanding with compassion comes also self-love, that we really understand ourselves more and open our heart to others, because through our own pain and suffering is often the way to others' pain and suffering. I always remember that when I think about all the vices in the world, says I have them all, I can drink too much, I can eat too much, I can be ego, whatever it is. And one day I saw a movie on gambling. It says, well, there's one thing I simply know I do not have that vice. It's just that I find it so silly. It's not bad, I'm not judging it, but it's the one thing I cannot understand why people would do this. See, this is the thing, that's a barrier. So my compassion to another gambler is limited because I myself can have great problems projecting myself into their situation. All the other vices, I have no problem. But gambling is the only thing that says, this is difficult. But of course, I accept what is, and I have to feel. But sometimes we have to really feel how other people are going through life And that creates our open heart. We are here to serve everybody else, because love is the highest form of love is service. And loving everybody else, which includes also loving the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the mineral kingdom. So the whole world, basically. And the more we love, the more we grow and more we become of who we truly are. It's all very simple, bitch. This is the thing. What I'm saying is, it's so simple. We basically have to wake up who we are, which is love. And we have heard it in all spiritual teachings. We have heard it from all masters and so on, but we have pushed it aside because we wanted our little world, we wanted this whole little house with a picket fence, we wanted, etc. We wanted our car, our career, etc. We forgot that the main purpose for us is to become who we truly are.
Mm. And that's obviously through programming in society as well, in, advertising and propaganda and agendas, and, getting distracted from a very early age, taking your power away. And then it's almost like the whole life journey is reclaim your power at the end of it. Take your power back. You had it when you were born, and it got taken away, and then
But we
take
must
it
forget
back.
that
Yeah.
there are a lot of souls who also left the spiritual realms who are no longer incarnate to planet Earth, but they unfortunately can infiltrate us and also manipulate us. We call them the negative entities. The negative entities are souls which have fallen so deep that they no longer have any life energy or very little life energy left. So for them to feel good, they have to steal life energy from human beings. And I've made a video. One is called Evil, and also the other one is Spirit Possession, where the souls can actually influence us, motivate us to do stuff which we normally wouldn't do, so that they can pull our energy. For instance, these wars which we have, it's negative energy. And negative energy, we call also Lush energy, is energy from which these negative entities live. So there is this danger of negative entities which can continue, which also try to tempt us all the time to do things which are against our own good. And by doing so, they can drain the energy from us. And we know this when we are very angry suddenly and do some stuff which we afterwards regret, we have lost energy. Who has that energy? And that energy is someone else who needed it. It's all a fight for energy. One of the videos becomes very clear. It's called The Waters of Life, I think it's called. It shows exactly how how they operate and how it works and how they pull the energy out of us if we don't watch it. That's why it's careful to monitor ourselves in our words, actions, and thoughts, because the entities, they know us better than we know themselves. They can see our aura. They know exactly our weaknesses. They can easily influence us, and in extreme cases also possess us. There's a video I have on spirit possession where they really cling to the back of our neck, not only one, but sometimes a whole group, like grapes clinging onto us. For people who go to drink a lot and who have got sort of vices, they make this person, oh, you need another drink, you need another drink, and then the person drinks it, and then the souls take this energy of the drink and feel it for their own purpose. And really manipulate the people. So there is a real big danger out there. People are not aware that we do have these negative entities, and we can deny them, and they love that, but we can also look at it and be very careful. And when we study ourselves and to see the world around us, suddenly it makes far more sense that a lot of people, human beings, are influenced by negative entities, because they need the energies. We see that with politicians who go to war and so on. They provide enormous fields of sources of energies for these negative sources.
Are these energies and entities, are they like former human beings that sort of turned into ghosts and became stuck, or are they from a different dimension? Are they not? They
could have been human beings before. No, there are all these, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, there are all these spirit beings who left the absolute reality. And some of them have fallen so low that they have no more energy left. People on the world who have incarnated still have got a certain amount of energy. But there are some energies have fallen deeper and deeper, but committed more and more karma for themselves. So they totally drained themselves. And the only way for them to survive in the spiritual and the astral fields is, these are the astral beings, is to really steal it from human beings.
And how do you clear that? How do we get rid of that? If you have someone clinging on to you and you feel really like angry, upset, and what do you do?
There are several ways to do this. You can really very clearly force them to stay away. You can really speak very forcefully for them. But what I do, and I don't want to give any kind of recipes or helps, or because I want to be careful. The video on spirit possession, which I made, is based on 5 books which I read, written by medical doctors, nothing spiritual, medical doctors. And they, in their books, at the end, always give a way of how to undo the spirit possession if you feel you are spiritually possessed. Look, remember, the Catholic Church still in any diocese has still got, what is the word? Exorcism.
Exorcism.
It still exists today. Yeah, the Catholic Church still has it today, and they would have long cancelled it if they would no longer believe in it. So I do not give advice of how to do that, because it's not my purpose. But I do lead people to experts where they could then, if they find it helpful, go to them. But the only one, the most powerful, is within oneself. It's a close connection to divinity, to Christ, to God. And they don't like that.
And have a strong will. No, you're not welcome here. Stay away.
Yeah, I think that's the first one. But it's
That's
very
quite simple.
Yeah, it's very simple, because if you are already half an alcoholic and you like to drink that, oh, don't do that. But I have a little drink as well. It's very difficult when we already have a weakness, and that's where they get us. If
Right.
you have the weakness, it's easy to be strong when it says, screw, just go, let me go, etc. But if we have a little weakness, then once in a while we want our drink, we want our marijuana, we want our whatever it is. And that's where they always come back to this. Oh, I know you would come back. I know you would come back. They know us better.
So even addictions can be prompted by really low entities.
Very much so. Very much so.
Very interesting.
And also a lot of psychological illnesses of people, schizophrenia and so on, and all these kind of things can be spirit possession. And so when people become totally different than they were, that can be some other entity speaking through it. It's a very difficult subject. Many people will not agree with that, and that's fine. But unfortunately, the ignorance of these extreme powers which manipulate us, and not only individually, I said earlier, also in politics, who put us into war, into crisis, give us these horrific kind of situations of pain and suffering and torture and so on, are often instigated by these negative forces. They have a field day. They love it. It's for them, it's like a whole field of energy they can just now live off for a long time.
Why we see a lot of greed, selfless people, you know, a lot of people in with lots of power are usually very, not usually, but there can be a lot of greed and evil.
My video, Fame, Power, and Wealth. Fame, Power, and Wealth. I explain it, how a soul can be manipulated by a negative entity. But very often it is that the soul grows up with a feeling, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. And then they have to substitute with outside things. I want to be famous, I want to be rich, I want to be powerful. Because only then I think I may be enough. But the more they get, even if they have $100 million on the bank account, they still have the inner hole. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And they get more and more. And all this wealth or the power or the fame can be provided by the negative entity and help them and to achieve that. But it does not satisfy the hunger. And in return, very often after their death, that soul who has lived this life of wealth, power, and fame then becomes a servant of the astral being. That is the Faustian bargain, very much the story of Faust, that we basically give our soul over to an entity who provided us with all the benefits which we wanted. So therefore, it's very important to clear up our original motivation. Why do I feel I'm not enough? Because the I'm not enough is probably the most powerful driving force about the extreme people who are greedy, who are desperate to become famous, desperate to become wealthy, but that hole will never be filled.
That goes with control freaks.
control.
Like you need to, I think you have to have a lot, a lot of people that have, I used to call them the bottomless bucket. How much you pour in is never enough. It just runs straight through. Doesn't matter how much you get. It's all straight through. You can never fill up the bucket. It overflows, and I think they have a lot of fear that needs a lot of control.
Yeah, and also there could also be that they want to bind you. It's one way of binding a person, says, you're not giving me enough, I need more, you're not giving me enough, etc. So that is a person who may want to bind another soul, which of course is not our idea. We should respect everybody's freedom, but there may be many other reasons. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not going to go too deep into it.
Is it interesting to hear from a spiritual point of view, because you're obviously highly wise and have lots of expertise and knowledge about this. I find it extremely fascinating. How do you know then when you encounter a light worker, like, because we have lots of light workers too on this planet? What's your experience on being around a light worker? How do you recognize them?
I don't know. I'm very careful on the light working thing idea, because if they would have something to show them off, our ego was probably behind that one. A light worker is extreme humility, extreme calmness, quietness. For instance, I will give you an example in Gabriele, for one, where the books I'm reading, she has even a television station, the people who have a television station there, and the books, but there is no photo of her. She is on no show, she is no photo, she has no, you will have great problems, and she's doing it for 40 years. But she has no photo available. She makes it a point that nobody should worship me. It is a message which I am bringing through that is all of importance. It's not me, it's Christ and God, but not me. So a light worker would be extremely humble and would never want to be in the limelight. I think this is one of the characteristics. There may be exceptions, I don't know. I've never given it some thought. I don't know whether a person is a light. I assume that everybody is a light worker, because everybody is here to wake me up. Everybody is here.
Yeah.
It's Byron Katie again says so wonderful. Everybody is here. Now I'm here to love everybody, but everybody else is here to push my buttons. I think there's a lot of, so that I wake up. So everybody around me is my light worker.
Brilliant. I love hearing your viewpoints, Hans. It's very nice to hear your side of this subject. Where do you hope we are in 10 years from now in the world?
Oh, I hope probably a kinder and nicer and more loving. That's basically it. I don't have a clear picture of what I will be doing and where I will be doing and what, but I just only hope that I have cleared up more of my karma by then, and given some joy to people understanding if that's what is wanted, if I can do that one. But I do not have any clear picture. I want to conquer the world and so on. No. My ego has done a lot in the past in this field. Now there's only a few hours left. That's really, not only for me, for most of us, only a few hours left. So we better make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, you don't have any fear left in your life to conquer?
Yes, all the time. Fear does not microphone work, etc. All the technical things. Fears. Yes, I do have fears. I mean, but these are small fears. This, will I be on time? Do I miss? How's the traffic? These are things which come up all the time, which is crazy. But yes, but all fear is basically the fear of losing comfort. If we look at our fears, it's always the loss of comfort. We may be fearing death. We feel the comfort of losing our body, our identification. Whatever we fear is, we fear that we may lose some comfort. Also the future, that we may not get the money, whatever is due to us, because we think we will no longer have the comfort of the money which is supposed to come to us. So fear is always fear of loss of comfort in one way or the other. And we have to just understand this is all what it is. It's comfort, it's our ego.
Lovely, Hans. Anything else you'd like to add? I'm gonna let you go soon.
No, I think I come back and say there is only to love and nothing else.
Yeah.
As simple as this word is, that is, and from day to day, from moment to moment, that is the answer. And try it. And I invite anybody who is interested in this to go to my website, lifeexplained.com, or to go to YouTube channel and just punch in my name, Hans Wilhelm, and the channel will come up right away. And you watch those videos. And those videos, they are very short. They are snackable size. So you can enjoy them in a very short time and see whether they speak to you. They may not speak to you, and that's absolutely fine. I have no need to convince anybody. Everything I do is without any kind of strong mission to convince anybody. I basically share. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, great, because I do not want the responsibility of having misguided any soul in my life. Therefore, I merely offer it. And I leave the choices always to the people who watch my video or listen or read my books, whatever they do.
Yeah, they're brilliant. I've been watching a few, and I will watch them all after this, for sure. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed myself.
It was a delight.
Namaste.
All the best to Sweden. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you got some valuable information today. Wake up, wake up. And thanks for checking in and waking up. See you next time.